And we're hearing chapter 11, text 47. And it says, Shri Bhagavan Uvach, Mayi Prasanena Tavar Shudam Rupam Param Darsitam Atma Yogat Tejomayam Vishvam Anantam Adyam Yan Netvad Anyena Nadrista Purvam. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Arjuna, happily have I shown you by my internal potency this supreme universal form within the material world. No one before you has ever seen this primal form, unlimited, and full of glaring effulgence. Purport. Arjuna wanted to see the universal form of the Supreme Lord. So Lord Krishna, out of his mercy upon his devotee Arjuna, showed his universal form full of effulgence and opulence. The form was glaring like the sun, and its many faces were rapidly changing. Krishna showed this form just to satisfy the desire of his friend Arjuna. This form was manifested by Krishna through his internal potency, which is inconceivable by human speculation. No one had seen this universal form of the Lord before Arjuna. But because the form was shown to Arjuna, other devotees in the heavenly planets and in other planets in outer space could also see it. They had not seen it before, but because of Arjuna, they were able to see it. In other words, all the disciplic devotees of the Lord could see the universal form, which was shown to Arjuna by the mercy of Krishna. Someone has commented that this form was shown to Duryodhana also when Krishna went to Duryodhana to negotiate for peace. Unfortunately, Duryodhana did not accept the peace offer, but at that time, Krishna manifested some of his universal forms. But those forms are different from the ones shown to Arjuna. It is clearly said that no one had ever seen this form before. Wow, that's special. Text 48. One second. Text 48. O best of the Kudu warriors, no one before you had ever seen this universal form of mind. For neither by studying the Vedas, nor by performing sacrifices, nor charity, nor by pious activities, nor by severe penances, can I be seen in this form in the material world. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The divine vision in this connection should be clearly understood. Who can have divine vision? Divine means godly. Unless one attains the status of divinity as a demigod, he cannot have divine vision. And what is a demigod? It is stated in the Vedas or in the Vedic scriptures that those who are devotees of Lord Vishnu are demigods. Vishnu Bhakta Smrita Deva. Those who are atheistic, that is, who do not believe in Vishnu, or who recognize only the impersonal part of Krishna as the supreme, cannot have the divine vision. It is not possible to decry Krishna and at the same time have the divine vision. One cannot have the divine vision without becoming divine. In other words, those who have divine vision can also see like Arjuna. The Bhagavad Gita gives the description of the universal form. Although this description was unknown to everyone before Arjuna, one can have some idea of the Vishwa Rupa after this incident. Those who are actually divine can see the universal form Lord, but one cannot be divine without being a pure devotee of Krishna. The devotees, however, who are actually in the divine nature and who have divine vision are not very interested in seeing the universal form of the Lord. As described in the previous verse, Arjuna desired to see the four-handed form of the Lord as Vishnu, and he was actually afraid of the universal form. In this verse, there are some significant words, just like Veda, Yajna, Dhyai, Yanai, which refers to studying Vedic literature and the subject matter of the sacrificial regulations. Veda refers to all kinds of Vedic literature, such as the four Vedas, Rig, Yajur, Sama, and Atharva, and the 18 Puranas, the Upanishads, and the Vedanta Sutra. One can study these at home or anywhere else. Similarly, there are sutras, Kalpa Sutras and Mimamsa Sutras, for studying the method of sacrifice. Danai refers to charity which is offered to a suitable party, such as those who are engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, the Brahmanas and the Vaishnavas. Similarly, pious activities refers to Agnihotra and the prescribed duties of the different castes, and the voluntary acceptance of some bodily pains is called tapasya. So one can perform all these, can accept bodily penances, give charity, study the Vedas, etc. But unless he is a devotee like Arjuna, it is not possible to see that universal form. Those who are impersonalists are also imagining that they are seeing the universal form of the Lord, but from Bhagavad Gita, we understand that the impersonalists are not devotees. Therefore, they are unable to see the universal form of the Lord. There are many persons who create incarnations. They falsely claim an ordinary human to be an incarnation. But this is all foolishness. We should follow the principles of Bhagavad Gita. Otherwise, there is no possibility of attaining perfect spiritual knowledge. Although Bhagavad Gita is considered the preliminary study of the science of God, still it is so perfect that it enables one to distinguish what is what. Followers of a pseudo incarnation may say that they have also seen the transcendental incarnation of God, the universal form. But that is unacceptable because it is clearly stated here that unless one becomes a devotee of Krishna, one cannot see the universal form of God. So one, first of all, has to become a pure devotee of Krishna. Then he can claim that he can show the universal form of what he has seen. Then he can show the universal form of what he has seen. A devotee of Krishna cannot accept false incarnations or followers of false incarnations. In other words, a devotee of Krishna cannot accept false incarnations or followers of false incarnations. Text number 49. You have been perturbed and bewildered by seeing this horrible feature of mine. Now let it be finished. My devotee, be free again from all disturbances. With a peaceful mind, you can now see the form you desire. In the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna was worried about killing Krishna. I'm sorry. In the in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna was worried about killing Bhisma and Drona, his worshipful grandfather and master. But Krishna said that he need not be afraid of killing his grandfather. When the sons of Dhritarashtra tried to destroy Draupadi in the assembly of the Kurus, Bhisma and Drona were silent. And for such negligence of duty, they should be killed. Krishna showed his universal form to Arjuna just to show him that these people were already killed for their unlawful action. That scene was shown to Arjuna because devotees are always peaceful and they cannot perform such horrible actions. The purpose of the revelation of this universal form was shown. Now Arjuna wanted to see the four-armed form, and Krishna showed him. A devotee is not much interested in a universal form, for it does not enable one to reciprocate loving feeling. Either a devotee wants to offer his respectful worship for feelings, or he wants to see the two-handed Krishna form so that he can reciprocate in loving service with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Arjuna is the real devotee. Text 50. Sanjaya said to Dhritarashtra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, having spoken thus to Arjuna, displayed his real four-armed form, and at last showed his two-armed form, thus encouraging the fearful Arjuna. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. When Krishna appeared as the son of Vasudeva and Devaki, he first of all appeared in four-armed Narayana, as four-armed Narayana. But when he was requested by his parents, he transformed himself into an ordinary child in appearance. Similarly, Krishna knew that Arjuna was not interested in seeing a four-handed form. But since Arjuna asked to see this four-handed form, Krishna also showed him this form again, and then showed him in his two-handed form. The word Somya Vapu is very significant. Somya Vapu is a very beautiful form. It is known as the most beautiful form. When he was present, everyone known as when he was present, everyone was attracted simply by Krishna's form. And because Krishna is the director of the universe, he just banished the fear of Arjuna, his devotee, and showed him again his beautiful form of Krishna. In the Brahma Samhita 538, it is stated, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena. Only a person whose eyes are smeared with the ointment of love can see the beautiful form of Sri Krishna. So what is this ointment of love? It's through tears that one sheds, not out of pain, but out of love for Krishna. That is the real ointment of love. Okay, text number 51. When Arjuna thus saw Krishna in his original form, he said, O Janardana, seeing this human-like form so very beautiful, I am now composed in mind, and I am restored to my original nature. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Here the words Manusam Rupam clearly indicate the Supreme Personality Godhead to be originally two-handed. Those who deride Krishna as if he were an ordinary person are shown here to be ignorant of his divine nature. If Krishna is like an ordinary human being, then how is it possible for him to show the universal form and again to show the four-handed Narayana form? So it is very clearly stated in Bhagavad Gita that one who thinks that Krishna is an ordinary person and who misguides the reader by claiming that it is the impersonal Brahman within Krishna speaking is doing the greatest injustice. Krishna has actually shown his universal form and his four-handed Vishnu form. So how can he be an ordinary human being? A pure devotee is not confused by misguiding commentaries on Bhagavad Gita because he knows what is what. The original verses of Bhagavad Gita are as clear as the sun. They do not require lamplight from foolish commentators. As they say, Sakaton, Prabhu. Prabhupada is socking it to all the nonsense. Text number 52. The Supreme Personality Godhead said, My dear Arjun, this form of mine you see now, this form of mine you are now seeing is very difficult to behold. Even the demigods are ever seeking the opportunity to see this form, which is so dear. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In the 48th verse of the chapter, Lord Krishna concluded revealing his universal form and informed Arjuna that this form is not possible to be seen by so many pious activities, sacrifices, etc. Now here the word Sudarshan is used, indicating that Krishna's two-handed form is still more confidential. One may be able to see the universal form of Krishna by adding a little tinge of devotional service to various activities like penances, Vedic study, and philosophical speculation. It may be possible, but without a tinge of bhakti, one cannot see. One cannot see. That has already been explained. Still, beyond the universal form, the form of Krishna with two hands is still more difficult to see, even for demigods like Brahma and Lord Shiva. They desire to see him, and we have evidence in the Srimad Bhagavatam that when he was supposed to be in the womb of his mother, Devaki, no, sorry, and we have evidence in the Srimad Bhagavatam that when he, meaning Krishna, was supposed to be in the womb of his mother, Devaki, all the demigods from heaven came to see the marvel of Krishna, and they offered nice prayers to the Lord. Although he was not at that time visible to them, they waited to see him. A foolish person may deride Krishna, thinking him an ordinary person, and may offer respect not to him, but to the impersonal something within him. But these are all nonsensical postures. Krishna in his two-armed form, is actually desired to be seen by demigods like Brahma and Shiva. That means it's very special darshan. And continuing the purport. In the Bhagavad Gita 9.11, it is also confirmed, Avajanti Mamudha Manasin Anam Ashrita. He is not visible to the foolish persons who deride him. Krishna's body, as confirmed by Brahma Samhita and confirmed by Krishna himself in Bhagavad Gita, is completely spiritual and full of bliss and eternality. His body is never like a material body. But for some who make a study of Krishna by reading Bhagavad Gita or similar Vedic scriptures, Krishna is a problem. For one using a material process, Krishna is considered to be a great historical personality and very learned philosopher, but he is an ordinary man. And even though he was so powerful, he had to accept a material body. That's not right. That's not correct. Ultimately, they think that the absolute truth is impersonal. Therefore, they think that from his impersonal feature, he assumed a personal feature attached to material nature. This is a materialistic calculation of the Supreme Lord. Another calculation is speculative. Those who are in search of knowledge also speculate on Krishna and consider him to be less important than the universal form of the Supreme. Thus, some think that the universal form of Krishna was manifested to Arjuna is more important than his personal form. According to them, the personal form of the Supreme is something imaginary. They believe that in the ultimate issue, the absolute truth is not a person, but the transcendental process is described is described in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, to hear about Krishna from authorities. That is the actual Vedic process. And those who are actually in the Vedic line hear about Krishna from authority and be repeated, and by repeated hearing about him. That's very important. And in this Vaishnava tradition, there should be repeated hearing, not that you hear it once and then you never go back to it again. There should be repeated hearing of the knowledge of Krishna. So that is the actual Vedic process. And those who are factually in the Vedic line hear about Krishna from authority and by repeated hearing about him. Say, it says that Krishna becomes dear. As we have several times discussed, Krishna is covered by his Yogamaya potency. He is not to be seen or revealed to anyone and everyone. Only by one to whom he reveals himself can he be seen. This is confirmed in Vedic literature. For one who is a surrendered soul, the absolute truth can actually be understood. The transcendentalist, by continuous Krishna consciousness and by devotional service to Krishna, can have his spiritual eyes opened and can see Krishna by revelation. Such revelation is not possible even for the demigods. Therefore, it is difficult even for the demigods to understand Krishna. And the advanced demigods are always in hope of seeing Krishna in his two-handed form. The conclusion is that although to see the universal form of Krishna is very, very difficult and not possible for anyone and everyone, it is still more difficult to understand his personal form as Shama Sundara. Very nice statements. Text number 53. Naham Vedar cha tapasa. Nadanena cha chejyaya. Shakya evam vidodrastam Drishtavam asi mam yata. The form you are seeing with your transcendental eyes cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas, nor by undergoing various penances, nor by charity, nor by worship. It is not by these means that one can see me as I am. But now, this is Krishna speaking about himself to his devotees. Purport. Krishna first appeared before his parents, Devaki and Vasudeva, in a four-handed form, and then he transformed himself into the two-handed form, and that's as a baby. Right? This mystery is very difficult to understand for those who are atheists or who are devoid of devotional service. For scholars who have simply studied Vedic literature by way of grammatical knowledge or mere academic qualifications, Krishna is not possible to understand, nor is he to be understood by persons who officially go to the temple to offer worship. They make their visit, but they cannot understand Krishna as he is. Krishna can be understood only through the path of devotional service, as explained by Krishna himself in the next verse, text 54. This is a very famous verse. Bhaktya tvav ananyaya sakya aham evam vidu yujna jnanam agyatam drastam tatvena pavestam cha parantapa. My dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am, standing before you, and can thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. Well, there's a very long.
Yeah, this one is a big one. This
It's like 4 pages, I think.
this one definitely requires
Yeah, there's
time
like
just for
4 or
that.
5 pages. 5 pages.
Should
Four
we
pages,
should
4.5
sh-
pages.
should we?
No, we'll stop here.
Yeah.
But I'll ask, are there any questions? Because this verse is very famous. My dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am, standing before you, and can thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. So, the real issue is undivided, meaning complete and never ending devotional service is necessary in order to be qualified to see Krishna directly, also. How about that? See him directly. That means face to face.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments? Any questions or comments? Oh,
Any comment? I'll take that.
any questions or comments, my dear devotees? Come on. It's so many things here that we discussed. There should be something, some question, some comment.
Aditya Prabhu.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, bro.
Yeah, Maharaj. Wanted to see if you guys have any questions or comments.
Okay, so I will give today's takeaway. And it says in text 53, For scholars who have simply studied Vedic literature by way of grammatical knowledge or mere academic qualification, Krishna is not possible to understand. Wow, that's a big statement. You have so many solid, what you would call uh,
Scholars.
highly educated people studying,
Mhm.
Bhagavad Gita and Vedic literature. And here, Prabhupada is saying that that it's very difficult to see Krishna or understand Krishna. Okay, so he says, by continuous Krishna consciousness and by devotional service to and by devotional service to Krishna. I'm sorry, it says the transcendentalist, by continuous Krishna consciousness and by devotional service to Krishna, can have his spiritual eyes opened and can see Krishna by revelation. See, that's basically what he's saying here, that Krishna consciousness is based on revelation theology.
Mhm.
It's not based on academic work. It's not based on what you would say just because of prayers. This is when Krishna decides that someone is pleasing him, he reveals himself to that person. They might not be any scholar or any special type of person, but as long as they have faith that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they are always engaged in the service of the Lord, then they can be blessed and be given the eyes to see Krishna. That's called revelation theology. So, and the purport covers this. It says, as we have said several times, no, as we have several times discussed, Krishna is covered by his Yogamaya potency. He is not to be seen or revealed to anyone and everyone. Only by one to whom he reveals himself can he be seen. This is confirmed in Vedic literature. For one who is a surrendered soul, the absolute truth can actually be understood. Transcendentalists, by continuous Krishna consciousness and by devotional service to Krishna, can have his spiritual eyes opened and can see Krishna by revelation. Such revelation is not possible even for the demigod. Therefore, it is difficult even for the demigods to understand Krishna. And the advanced demigods are always in hope of seeing Krishna in his two-handed form. The conclusion is that although to see the universal form of Krishna is very, very difficult and not possible for anyone and everyone, it is still more difficult to understand his personal form as Shama Sundara. Yeah, I remember one time this American lady came to the temple and we showed her a picture of baby Krishna. And she said, I don't believe this. This is not correct. I don't believe that God is a little baby. Or God is a little child. You know, he's got to be, an older man with a lot of knowledge and so forth. So she was very disturbed that we showed her a picture of baby Krishna. And she was very adamant that she doesn't believe this is God.
Yeah, it's hard to understand.
Yeah.
But all our, even a lot of kirtans that we have, particularly from the South India, all these devotee singers like Annamacharya, Tyagaraj,
Yeah.
they have nice, beautiful songs, kirtans that
Yeah.
glorify these mutually contradicting qualities of the
Yeah.
Lord.
Of course.
Like things like, you are the son, but you are the father, or you are the brother,
Yeah.
but the brother comes from you. Your brother comes from you. Like that, there's many references to this conflicting personality of the Lord.
Yeah.
But it's only through that bhakti angle you will actually understand and appreciate the transcendental nature of the Lord.
Yeah. He's not limited.
For logic, you can't. He will not fit into the logic box.
No, not at all. Not at all. When he was born, he had 4 arms.
Yeah.
And then his mother said, "No, I'll get rid of those 2 arms because Kamsa is going to come and kill you." So he said, "Okay." They changed back to a 2-arm form. Who's going to understand that? It's impossible for non-devotees to understand that. Okay, well, thank you very much, my dear devotees. We will end
This session.
now, and I'm going to go to the temple and chant Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
And maybe you can give another lecture.
I've also, those of you who are in Samamish area, please join for Maharaj class at 8. Our Kirtan at 8.